Welcome everyone to the HubBiz Live show where you can get ideas to grow your eco-conscious business. And today I'm joined by Lynn Lockwood of Le Club De Cacao. I hope I'm saying that right. Talking about blending business with ethical chocolate. So if, you may not know, but today is World Chocolate Day, so this is quite timely. For anyone who is tuning in, please do say hi and post your questions in the comments. The show is only 10 minutes, so we'll try and get to any questions on the live if we can, but if not, we will get on straight afterwards and answer them. So we're just trying to pack in as much value as we can and get the most out of having Lynn here today. So welcome, Lynn.
Thanks for asking me, Karen. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, no, really good for you to make it. And as you can see, we've both got our
twin
chocolate shirts on.
She surprised me.
Yeah, there was Lynn said she's never been on a call with someone else who's wearing the same shirt as hers. So we're celebrating World Chocolate Day and in particular sustainable and ethical chocolate, because you are Chocolate Sommelier, obviously, and a campaigner for this. So a question to you: have you seen changes in your industry over the last 10 years? With regards to chocolate?
Well, I've only really been in the industry for the last 10 years, so it was all very new to me. I kind of started learning in around 2008 and knew nothing, absolutely nothing. And so it's changing constantly, slowly, but what I'm learning is changing, you see. So what I thought 10 years ago and what I thought now are two different things completely, and I learn something new all the time. It's really difficult and really complex to understand the world of chocolate, which you'd never have a clue about just from a consumer perspective. So
yeah, because I was talking to someone earlier and they sort of raised the issue of palm oil in chocolate, and I said that's just scratching the surface.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so much more that goes into it, from kind of child slavery to trafficking and everything.
Poverty. Cocoa farmers are the poorest agricultural workers in the world, and it's the issues around that. It's a huge commodity, one of the most loved products, but yet the least known about. I mean, when I started, I didn't know it was a fruit, really. I didn't know it was a fruit that grew on a tree, that grew on a tree and this is a dried pod, but that's where your beans come from. You can hear the beans inside that being dried. So I just had no concept at all, and it shocked me that I didn't.
Yeah, because I think people are looking, people are more and more looking to where their food is coming from, and how it's grown, rather than they just get it all nicely wrapped up in, from a supermarket. So, I think that's great what you're doing to kind of, campaign and raise awareness around.
What I've seen in the last couple of years, rather than the last 10 years, is especially when I judge at the Academy and international awards. Haven't done the internationals for a while, but certainly I see an influx of more chocolate makers, people coming in. Every year there's an abundance of people coming into that. But what the issues are is I see a lot of things under the health banner, under the vegan banner, under the banners are where people, care more about what they're eating, kind of, but actually the worst products. And in flavour, in quality, and because I do think it takes a really long time to learn your craft, learn your trade, and learn about actually when you strip everything back, there's so little transparency. So certification and labelling is what I've learned is not worth the money it's written on, really.
Right.
There are problems.
So I think, what that would bring to me, then what would you, what change could we make as consumers? It's not just about, having chocolate. People buy it as gifts and everything as well. It can be something that a business that you could give to someone as a gift and stuff as well. What would you suggest? What's the change that we could make, or what would you look for in a chocolate if we were going to buy it?
Well, I think if you're looking at, say, a bar of chocolate, I mean, you can go to somewhat on price. If anything under maybe around the £4 mark-ish, it can't be possible that it's been made ethically or sustainably. But unfortunately, it doesn't mean that's over that means it is either. But it definitely can't be under. I think the best thing to do is to learn to taste, because when I first started, what I thought was good on my palate and what I think now, and what I can taste how good it is, I can taste that. And when we're talking about quality, often that is indicative to investing in the farmers, investing in the growing, investing in that. So, and that's kind of more what's come along with the craft industry, and there's still a long way to go with that as well. We still need to hear more about the voice of the farmers, and it's a colonial product. We're around the Black Lives Matters in the industry, we've been talking a lot about it, and chocolate is a white product which stems from colonial times and imperialism, and to many ways it still is.
So I think some of the documentaries and stuff that you've pointed me to and I've watched, and it's just what an incredible eye-opener, and quite tragic in ways as well. Some really sad stuff, but there's also some really positive stories that have come out of it, and especially the kind of bean to bar. Is that how you would say it?
Well,
so
caliber, the big companies are bean to bar as well. It's and some people say fine, and some people it's a really difficult thing. I mean, I think we're erring more towards the craft terminology,
right.
like
an artisan, craft.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was kind of thinking when they said bar. Yeah.
So the smaller makers, but one of the experts I know, Clay, pointed out years ago that bean to bar was something we started to use, but bean to bar can make the big their bean to bar. Probably the most sustainable, a tree to bar, because it's I mean, the first tree to bar plantation was in Grenada, and now they have more tree to bar factories than anywhere else in the world on a tiny little island. They have about 5 tree to bar factories, and that's where it's produced, where it's grown. But in history, that never happened. The beans were shipped and then produced in America, in North America, and Europe, in Northern Europe.
Yeah.
So that's changing, and that's really positive.
And that's sort of that whole kind of local thing as well, isn't it? And I'm a big fan and sort of proponent of localism and buying locally, and shorter journeys because it's more eco-friendly.
Yeah.
But there's more money in the local economy too. So I think those sort of things are really great, because
it does definitely in the place of origin. It doesn't really work for us buying it here, because I mean, when I started selling years ago at farmers markets, lots of farmers markets wouldn't have me because I didn't make the product myself.
Right.
But trying to point out that no one's making that product locally there, and cocoa doesn't grow here, and what most people were doing is melting down probably the most mass-produced manufacturer of chocolate and then reworking it, and so it's homemade.
Yeah. So that's where people are not getting right. It's sort of like taking that global and bringing it local global, if you know what I mean. So it's not, you're still helping those out, but you're still doing it in the most ethical and sustainable way as possible.
But it's not putting them down. It's just that the knowledge is so complex. The knowledge isn't there. But you can find it if you look for it. And I am someone who really has done that, and I still feel I know tiny amounts compared to what there is.
Oh, well, you are a wealth of knowledge, and I think if you can, there are a couple of people who've just sort of commented. Hi, Gail. Hi, Christelle. Thanks for joining us. Great t-shirts, they're saying. Looking forward to the chat. Christelle's asking about sort of documentaries you can recommend. And things like that. So I think, I know we haven't got much time on the show, so if we can post some stuff afterwards.
Yes, definitely.
And you've also got a survey you're running, because
I've got a survey because we're starting to discuss setting up a consumer campaign around sustainable and ethical chocolate. We've had our first meeting last week, which was fantastic, and we had one of the filmmakers involved. We've got a real variety of people, and consumers need to be at the heart of it. We need to understand what consumers will understand and engage with to be able to give them the right information, really, to make the right choices and start campaigning with us to make those changes. But I will post some things on afterwards about
because unfortunately, we've sort of come to the end, and there's some really good questions there from Gail and Christelle. So definitely, guys, we'll jump on straight after the show. Lynn will be on there as well, and answer your comments, post some links as well. For those of you tuning in or watching the replay later, please keep asking your questions and we'll definitely get to them. Thank you so much for joining us, Lynn. I wish we could chat for much longer, so we might have to get you back on another chocolate day, or just have you back to chat a bit more, because it's been really really interesting, and really I think it's something that people need to know more about. And next week details will go up for that on my Habfizz page in the next 24 hours. So thanks for joining us, Lynn, and thanks for tuning in, listeners, and we'll see you next week.